obviously there are a lot of issues, ethical issues, when it comes to AI art. And the most obvious one, to me at least, is the fact that AI systems that are popularly used to generate images, like Midjourney, Dolly,
Yeah.
there's like an Adobe one, and
Yeah.
there's some other one that I'm forgetting the name of. But they are trained on millions of images, many of which are images of human-made art. Um, and oftentimes, those artists may or may not be aware that their art and their personal style is being used to generate other images. And like, yes, in a sense, all art, like every artist takes inspiration from
Right.
existing artists, and that's part of the discipline, genre. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's normal, but the difference with AI is, for one, it's not just elements of the art, but the entire artworks themselves. Second, it's not really easy to find the source material for the generated image at the end of the day, because it's so much data, and oftentimes these companies are not super forward with where this data is coming from.
Yeah.
And like, it's not, at least as far as I know, it's not as big of an issue for someone like me who does physical paintings. But digital artists, that's like, there have been many cases of people coming out and saying like, hey, this AI generated image is exactly my art style. And I can recognize, as the person who made these original pieces, what elements were used to generate this new image. So that to me just feels like plagiarism.
Yeah.
And there are cases where it's more obvious than others, but then it's like, all right, well, if you use so much data that it becomes impossible to distinguish the individual unique features of this artist from the thousands of others that were used to generate this image. And so I have an issue with that, for
Totally.
one thing. I have other issues, but maybe
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear what you think about that.
Yeah, on that, just to begin, one thing that I've really been thinking about a lot is like the value of created things and the type of content that I want to be generating. I want it to be generative. Um, and I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was talking about how so much of what we see online now is regurgitated reactions, or a reporting back of this story, or a reaction to a reaction to a reaction.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about that, and I was like, sure, I've done that a few times, but I think when I do that style of content, I try my best to utilize it as inspiration to then, within me, generate something new that I am creating, even if it is just a reaction. I don't want to sit down and just read an article that someone else wrote and then say, and what do you think, audience? And then move on. But we see that all the time, right?
Yeah.
And I think there is such a difference in like the integrity of creation when your personal point of view is embedded into the thing that you're creating, or some essence of you is being added. There's something additive and generative about it passing through you, as opposed to you just being a middleman or a window. You know, it's like, no, you kind of need to be like a stained glass window. You need to add at least something if something is being reflected through you.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a good analogy for it.
Thank you.